I have a piece of the garden in my plate. Wow, so this salad here turned out really amazing. Everything comes from the garden, unless the fenugreek sprouts that I still had in the fridge. But otherwise, everything is from the garden. It's really amazing, this variety that I got now. And look how much. I just got a little bit of everything today. Usually I eat much simpler. I only have like one type of greens and maybe a cucumber. Sometimes I even just walk through the garden and I eat. But it's just a different way of consuming food like this. And it's much simpler. Usually it doesn't take me longer than 5 minutes to prepare, since I just can go outside the door and harvest my food fresh. So it can be really simple to eat healthy, and for me this is a really exciting meal just because it comes from the garden. And at times when I don't have anything in the garden, the meals just become something special just by adding a flower or by adding some herbs from the garden. Then already a meal can become so exciting if you add something that you grow yourself. So maybe now I can show you around the garden to show you where this food comes from. So maybe let's just start in the beginning of the garden. This is the entrance, and I planted here lots of these paradise birds. And behind me here, that's my toilet. By now it's overgrown with the passion fruit vine, and you cannot even see the building anymore. So on this side of the garden I planted some fruit trees. So there is some banana trees and papayas. Oh, there is one is ready. Oh, just cannot reach. Need a stick. Get it later. There is pineapples at the edge here all around. And then some beautiful soursop tree, which the leaves, they can be used in teas. They are really delicious. And basically just everything overgrown here with the sweet potatoes. They go wild. This tree is actually a tree that I cut. You can see here. It was cut down really on the floor. And then one more branch just spread up, and it's quite great if you have a good type of papaya. It's worth, when they get too high, to cut them, and it will produce fruits again, and you know that the fruits are good because it's the same tree. It's never the same if you use the seeds. You don't know what you get exactly. So this is big. I'm gonna just take this one. As you can see, the sweet potatoes, they grow really high, and they grow even into the tree here. It's a mango tree. They make these beautiful flowers. That means that there are soon sweet potatoes ready here. They are here for quite a while. I don't know even when I have planted them. But the leaves, they're delicious in salads. They're delicious. So we can walk down here. So walking inside the garden and towards the house, there is this huge passion fruit vine overgrowing a tree here and growing even on top of my rooftop. And it's such a beautiful and easy to grow plant. It will spread out, so it's not a good idea to grow it in the middle of the garden because it will just take over all the trees. But on the side it's great. And the kittens, they love to hang out on top of it. And it makes these beautiful flowers which are edible and they taste amazing. So also the colibris, they love these flowers. Now there are not so many, but in the evening when the flowers are open, there's plenty of colibris around this and they pollinate all these flowers, I think. So it's very beautiful. And the fruits are great and they just fall to the ground when they are ready. And I just can't collect them. And also the tender leaves of this passion fruit wine, they are edible as well. And they taste very special. They have some almond taste to it. And they are really delicious in salads. And then here underneath this wine, it's just all overgrown with the Ayurvedic black pepper. This is great ground cover to have in the garden as well. It makes these long peppers which are really strong. And then there is also some ginger plants which is more in the sun, and some galangal. Now this patch of the garden here is like a small herbal garden in between the stones. It used to be a stone garden, this place, when I came here. So basically there were many stones and cactus plants and some flower trees. So there is some aloe vera plants here and a big tulsi which is full in flowers. So now the ground is covered with small tulsi plants, and the ground also is covered with spearmint. It's a delicious mint, like a really strong mint. There is some pipli growing here, the Ayurvedic black pepper, and this is the Brazilian spinach. This is also a really great ground cover. I don't eat it so often, sometimes in juices or in smoothies, but it's quite tough to eat raw like this. It's more for cooking purpose. But yeah, it's great to cover the ground in summer, and it's really hardy, so it stays all summer. It will not die back. It just survives the heat of the summer month. And then also there is some basil everywhere in between the mint. There's some dill. Oh, and there is also some lemon balm, which is also beautiful in teas and ice creams and juices. So yeah, as you can see, this part is really pretty densely planted and overgrown. It's what I aim in my garden, to have it like this. Otherwise now the days are getting really hot and I have to start mulching all the places which the soil is exposed to the sun. So here I almost cannot walk, but I try to show. This is the last structure that I made for the cucumbers, and it was pretty empty that time. And now this big pumpkin plant is growing. I thought it's a bottle gourd that can grow up these Mexican sunflowers here, but it turned out to be a pumpkin. So it looked so healthy that I had to leave it here. And now I just try to direct it so he stays inside the trench. and doesn't overgrow all the vegetables around. But it looks pretty good, and maybe he will go down there into the fruit orchard. So there are two structures here, the cucumber structure, and this is the Basella spinach structure. And underneath the structures, it's just densely planted with pak choy and rucola and coriander, chili, mizuna salad, basil, dill, fennel, watermelon. And same on this side, there are also some tomatoes and long beans, and the ground is just covered with rucola and pak choy and basil and mint. I don't really need to weed anything away because there are no weeds coming up. The plants itself, they make the ground cover. It's not everywhere like this in the garden, but it would be the aim of the garden to be always that covered. All of this spinach and all of this salad that you just saw, all the rocket and bok choy, which is definitely too much for me to eat. A lot of this Basella spinach, especially the young leaves I will eat in salads, but then the really huge leaves, which are a little bit less tender, they are really big, even sometimes they get bigger. I will just go on some days and collect all the greens that are there and make wraps with it. I love these wraps, and I think that's one of the best ways for me to just preserve the greens from the garden, and I almost eat them every day. It's an easy process. I just blend it up, I make like a smoothie, I put in a bottle gourd as well, and then I just spread it on the trays really thin and put it in the dehydrator, and the next morning I got these wraps that I can just peel off and and can store them. So here beside the long beans that are growing here in between two papaya trees, I just put some thread and they will grow up here. There was one already, and I put more seeds inside. Here's coming up one. I also will plant some spring onions here. I don't really eat the onions, raw onions, but I like the greens, so I plant them for the greens of the onions. And it's very easy to plant them. You can either cut them into 4 pieces and then put them in the ground, or these I just will put whole and try like this. It's just to bury them a little bit. You can see one part of them, there's the root on it. So this will be a nice spring onion field. And before I had a lot of spring onions underneath the cucumber structures everywhere, and they are gone now because I ate them, and I had many for a while, so I also dehydrated them for the time when I don't have any spring onions during the summer. And here beside these long beans growing, I got the cucumber structure. That was one of my first ones, and it's already wilting down, but it's still producing a lot of cucumbers. And then I just discovered here there are some huge ones. I don't know if you can see. So the ones that are on the ground I will leave for the seeds, and I'm never really sure when to take them because sometimes they are too rotten and the seeds inside they are rotten as well. So last week I took one and it was too early. I tried to sprout the seeds and I realized no, they were not mature enough. But the cucumber was still edible, so I made a big juice, and one cucumber gave me like half a liter of green juice. It's such a hydrating thing right now. It's almost my favorite juice, like just cucumber, plain cucumber juice. Better than any type of water to drink cucumber juice. It's much more hydrating. And then next to the cucumber structure, there is a lot of rucola that I planted. So also if I have lots of rucola, even that one I dehydrated and I made a powder, a green powder. because I just love it in smoothies, and I know I will miss it already in summer. So now I have a green powder, green smoothies with rucola. It's such a great thing. So yeah, I also grow some chilies here. They're a little bit everywhere, like the rucola and the cucumbers. Everything is everywhere in the garden because I realized some things they will thrive in one place and not in another. So it's good to just diversify the things and put them in different spots in the garden, and then you will see where they can choose actually by themselves where they like to grow. So this is a good thing, and it's always better anyway to have more food. So I try to fill all the gaps. Now here, there are many tomatoes. Tomatoes I got them everywhere spread around, like the chilies, like the salads. They are getting heavy and collapsing because I don't have a structure for the tomatoes actually. I just grow them like this. I put a lot of mulch underneath to support them, and here I put some sticks, and let's see. This area here is just one of the last beds that I planted. I made this bed to really in the need to plant out all my rest of the nursery, especially the salad. So I have some red leaf lettuce here and bok choy, some rucola that I sowed there, and also some parsley is growing, and pineapple,